Hey y'all, Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and this is my Snohomish County real estate market update for July 2022. Every month in these videos, I talk about the stats from the previous month, so we're gonna be looking at the stats from June 2022. We're gonna talk a little bit about some specific areas of Snohomish County, and I got a little treat for you at the end as we talk about what do prices look like year over year. And I think a lot of people have focused on, and me too, what has happened over the last 4 or 5 months where prices were continuing to balloon and then the balloon kind of lost some air, right? And that's what we've been experiencing here over the past few months. But I think it's important for us to focus on a little bit longer time horizon as well, so we can have a little bit more perspective. So we're gonna talk about that towards the end. But as we start, I just wanna jump right into the stats for Snohomish County from last month. And I think we'll get a good picture for what's been happening in the market. I'll share a little bit about what I think is going to happen too. New listings in Snohomish County from last month, up 14.9%. So we had more houses coming on the market, but very similar to maybe 2-3 years before. Last year, we had a little bit of a pause. It's interesting, people will hold on to their houses and not want to sell when the market is hot, and then they'll put their houses on the market when it's not as hot. I haven't quite figured that out. But I know last year I was talking to people, hey, the market is really, really hot. You might want to consider selling. And I think people held on to their houses. And honestly, when we look at the data here, you'll probably think that they made a good decision. And I do too. But I think it's just interesting to see that trend, right? Hey, we got a lot more houses coming on the market all of a sudden. I think people think maybe that they want to capitalize on where the prices are at right now. Pending sales down 29%. So we had more new listings coming on the market, less selling, which to me means that when we look at next month, we're going to see fewer closed sales. And that's what we saw this month when we had a similar experience last month looking at the data. 22.6% fewer closed sales in June than we did last June. And we're going to see that same kind of a difference, I think, this month coming up in July as well in Snohomish County. Now, if we look at median days on the market, 11 days on the market on average, so still selling relatively quickly, which is compared to last year, 9 days on the market. So not a huge difference, but we are starting to see houses sitting on the market. Median sales price, and this is what I think is important to talk about today, $790 median sales price in Snohomish County. It's not the all-time high for the year, but it's up 12.1% from last year, same time. So if we look June to June, up 12%, that's amazing difference. It would have put Seattle area on the map, right? And even more so than 2016-17 if we had prices like that, price jumps. That would have been crazy to think of at the time. Now we think, oh, it's only up 12%? What? I think average sales price here, 14.5% up year over year. If we look at the percentage above asking price, 2.2% over asking price, so we still have some competition. I think I mentioned this in my King County video, and I think it's important to note here, and that's that when you have price reductions, this stat isn't taking into account price reductions before this number. So if somebody listed their house for $1 million but sold it for $900, if they reduce the price each time, it'll still show up as 100% of asking price. So I think this number in this type of a market where we're seeing the market correcting, I think it's important to note that, you know what, a lot of people are probably actually selling for less than their original asking price, especially when I see King and Snohomish County having about 900 price reductions with 1,100 new listings. So a lot of price reductions. But this stat's a little deceiving when you look at it like that. So I think last year we're seeing 8.5% over asking price. We're seeing, whoa, houses aren't sitting, they're not having price reduction, so that's a true 8.5% over asking price. This is, 2.2% above what the current asking price is, but is that really the full truth? I think that the data might be lying to us in that situation, so I just want to point that out. I think as we look at inventory of homes, I mentioned more new listings, less pending sales, which means we have more houses on the market. So we had about a little over 1,000 houses on the market last month, up 52% month over month. So a lot of new houses that have been sitting on the market, or more houses for all the buyers, if you want to call it that. If we look back at last year, 604 houses year over year though, so that's a 159% jump. It's huge. But last year was not normal. Last year was super, super low. 0.6 months of supply, which is near record lows. We had even lower supply later in the year, which was crazy in 2021. But 2022, 1.6 months of supply in Snohomish County for the month, which is more in line with what a normal hot market would look like. We're still not anywhere near a balanced 4 to 6 months of supply. So I think that's also something to keep in mind. And that's why we're still seeing some houses selling over asking price, because there are enough buyers, right, for the right houses, but some of the houses are not as desirable, maybe not in as desirable area, or have things about them that aren't as appealing. And so those houses are going to sit for a little bit. So I mentioned earlier in the video that I think what's encouraging for a seller is to see that houses are still selling for quite a bit more than they did last year. So if you didn't sell last spring, you didn't miss the boat. But you might not get as much as your neighbor did 3-4 months ago. So there is a little bit of a balance, but I think for sellers, we have to be realistic about what houses are actually selling for and what buyers want to pay, because nobody wants to pay that multiple offer frenzy price right now, because there isn't the multiple offer frenzy. So the reason a lot of those houses did sell for maybe 10% more than what you might sell for right now is because people were bidding them up and were going crazy over the houses. But when that crazy's gone, now they want to pay what the asking price was maybe, or even a little bit less. So even earlier in the year, if we look at January or December, we're still seeing houses selling for more than that as well. So as we looked at the whole Snohomish County, 12.1% up median sales price, I'm going to share a few places in Snohomish County, not every single place, but we're going to do a little survey here just so you can see what I'm seeing here. So Edmonds, 9.9% higher median sales price year over year. Mountlake Terrace, 18.3%. 7.4% up in Linwood. 14.4% more in Mill Creek. Everett, 11.8% more. Bothell, 24.4% more. Snohomish, 23.5%. Lake Stevens, 14.2% more. Arlington, 4% more. Monroe, 22.3% more. Marysville, 7.4% more. So again, I didn't read every place in Snohomish County, but what we're seeing here is this trend of, hey, houses are still selling for a lot more than they did last year. So sellers, you didn't miss the boat. Buyers, I think you have some opportunities here where you can potentially get a house for less than what people paid and what your neighbors paid 3-4 months ago. I don't know if you're going to get it for less than people were paying last year. It's possible, I guess, if the market corrects a ton. But there's still quite a big correction to happen if we're going to see that. So I think buyers, you have an opportunity here over the next 6 or so months, maybe more, to purchase at a better price than what the neighbors paid. You will have a higher interest rate. That's just the reality right now. But I think in the future, you'll have that opportunity to refinance and get a lower interest rate, but it's not going to be immediate. So buyers, you have an opportunity here. It's not for everybody, but I think there is an opportunity for some buyers. I think sellers, you still have a great time to sell your house. You're just probably not going to get as much as your neighbor did. Thanks so much for tuning into this month's Snohomish County Real Estate Market Update. If you enjoyed these and want to see more, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to talk more about your situation, buying or selling in Snohomish County, or King County for that matter, I'd love to be a resource for you.